you is, I fixed it.
Oh.
The first 20 minutes of this podcast are gonna suck because I had the volume turned mostly down. I am sorry. That is
Wow.
my bad.
Wow.
That is my
Ryan,
bad.
really?
That's alright.
Becca, this is why I love you, man.
Right? This is why we love you, Becca.
See,
Appreciate
this is why I don't. This is why I don't like turning the volume down when we play like an intro video or something. And why I wish OBS would just default that back, but it's cool. It's cool. Just kind of recap, because, let's see, we're only like 8 minutes in. Just kind of recap, I fucking love the movie, 9.5 out of 10, honestly, I think they should probably end the franchise here. But
agreed.
Mm-hmm.
And I give it 10 out of 10, because, like...
where should we start, though? Certain characters, certain scenes that really stick out to you guys? Because there's a bunch for me, but I honestly don't know where to start.
Let's start from the beginning, then. Like, anywhere in the beginning.
I love that the first line in the movie is, "Oh, fuck."
Yes.
That just set the tone for the whole movie, and it's so great to be able to hear Hugh Jackman be able to actually play Wolverine the way he should,
He should have been.
That's what
Agreed.
it was. That whole opening scene with the guys like trying to jack his car, like that was incredible. Not only because they showed how old he's getting, just because like they shoot him down and shit, and like you could see like it's kind of taking an effect on him. It's not like in X-Men 2 where he can like tank like 40 like shotguns being shot at him.
Yeah.
And the brutality of that, the brutality of the whole movie, that's something we've been waiting to see with this character for so long, and it was so great. But, like,
Agreed.
It served a purpose, too. Like, especially later on with Laura. It was great seeing that she kind of took after Logan, especially in that, like, rage sense.
Mm-hmm.
But he was kind of trying to instill in her, like, violence isn't, like, this is what I do because it's in my character and I can't really stop it. You don't have to be like that. Like, that's why I love that line, especially later on. Like, you don't have to be what they made you. Like, and that was such a gut punch of a line. That was great.
Mm-hmm. It was a great line.
That's what this movie is really, really, really well written. To the point where I was actually kind of surprised how well written it was.
I mean, it's a wonder what you get when, you know, a studio decides to take the reins off you for a little bit and let you, you know, run wild with the character. Like, you get stuff like this.
That's what
and Deadpool.
The guy who wrote and directed this, James Mangold, he did the last Wolverine movie, the one that took place in Japan, and you can see like it's like night and day difference, this movie and that movie. Like they do not feel like movies that are directed by the same guy. But this just goes to show the, like, what's the word I'm looking for? The effect wave of Deadpool, as it were. Like, they're actually willing to take a chance on something like this now. As opposed to, like, maybe, like... I mean, that last Wolverine movie is, like, 3 years ago, I want to say? It was 2013?
It was pretty far.
And, I mean, I
didn't even actually watch that one.
I got, like, maybe... As soon as they kind of started introducing some of the more, like, kind of schlocky elements, I was kind of like, oh, this doesn't really fit with the first, like, 45 minutes to an hour. I'ma go.
I'ma go.
Like I said, I didn't watch it, but I'm just mad because Lady Deathstrike was, like, supposed to be bigger than she was, and she was BA in X-Men 2, and I'm still bitter about it. Anyways.
Speaking of X-Men 2 and kind of the whole continuity thing, I like that this movie wasn't, like, it wasn't a slave to continuity. Like, they mentioned stuff like the Statue of Liberty incident in X-Men 1, and they say it takes place, like, couple years after the ending of the epilogue ending of Days of Future Past.
I think it's like maybe like I know it's longer than 4 years, but shorter than like 6.
Yeah.
No, shorter than 8.
I think it was like 5, honestly.
Yeah.
And that's what, when they announced that, I was like, wait, because, like, by the time this movie starts, like, there are basically, like, no more mutants in the world, except in, like, very small pockets. I was like, how did they manage to either hunt down or kill all the mutants in, like, just big one fell swoop? And I was kind of iffy on it, but I do like the way they kind of explained it in this movie with both... Well, it was a couple of things. With the crops that they were saying, the crops and the corn syrup and all that stuff, how it was basically how the government or... What was the scientist guy's name? I know he's like he's supposed to be like the son of a character from like X-Men 2, I think. Not Stryker. I can't remember what his name was, but I liked his explanation that they like basically bred mutants like out.
Yeah.
It kind of genetically...
That whole explanation like was crazy because they took a situation like all the BS that happens in Mexico and they actually put a twist on it and made it about like mutants and stuff, because that's actually probably something that would unfortunately happen.
Yeah.
And that's horrible.
The best kind of
also,
sci-fi.
Well, before you guys continue, I want to go ahead and correct myself here. The date in which Logan takes place in the X-Men universe is 2029. So that's a long time after Days of Future Pants.
I mean,
yeah.
But the epilogue's supposed to be like 2025.
Well, actually no. No, not so much, because the epilogue for Days of Future Past is 2023. So we're looking at about 4 years. No, not 4 years. 6 years. 6 years.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah.
Not that bad.
But still, it's like, how did they manage to wipe out like pretty much most of the mutant population in that time?
Yeah. Now, I will say this though. On that, like, I was shocked at the direction they took with the deaths and disappearances of most, if not all, of the X-Men. Yo, it's so subtle. If you're not paying attention, you will miss the reason for the disappearance. But once you find out, it is heartbreaking.
It is.
And
the Westchester incident.
Yeah. So basically, what you get, Xavier lost it, and
he started having Alzheimer's and stuff like that.
And he killed everyone. Everyone died. Everyone died.
All the students probably, because Westchester, that's where the X-Mansion is.
That is, they all died, and it was an accident. It was a complete accident, and
Logan was the only one to survive, because really he was the only one who could, because his healing factor.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about it is for me is the fact that for most of the film, Xavier didn't even remember it. He it would come back in like bits and pieces, but he didn't remember what happened. He wondered what happened to them, but he completely forgot.
That was because Logan wanted it that way. Because no matter what happens, Logan's still got a good heart, and that never changes ever. Sure. And he never wanted him to remember. That's why he kept him like doped up most of the time. Not even just because he would lose control when he
didn't
had his attacks, but because he didn't want him to remember that, because he knew that guilt would eat him alive.
Exactly.
Because it's not something like, see, that's something I can respect in the storytelling, because like you want to be mad, like, and you want to know what happened, but like it was an accident.
Yeah.
He didn't know that he was going to develop these like seizures and what they were going to do and all this other stuff.
Yeah, like basically his mind is deteriorating, and as such, being as powerful as he is, like his powers just kind of
exactly. That's why I love the line when the doctor was talking to the tracker mutant. He came in. He was like, I think he was like, oh, I have a solution for you because, you know, we all know that one of the most dangerous minds on the planet is deteriorating, and what does that do to somebody? And I was like, yo, that's deep. Because a lot of people don't like to talk about Alzheimer's or anything like that because it's difficult. It's a difficult thing to deal with. But, like, they handled this in a way that still made it a superhero thing, but not in a way that you couldn't relate.
Yeah. Honestly, to be honest, if I didn't know that if I had no knowledge of Wolverine or X-Men or anything like that, I honestly would not have known that this was that type of film. Like, watching it from start to finish, I would have been like, yo, this is crazy. Like, where's the Oscar? Like, what's happening? Like, this movie was like, bruh. More of this. Can we have more of this?
Honestly,
I'm getting tired. I'm so tired of, like, I'm honestly getting tired of like the Avengers and things. Like, I'm tired of it. Give me something that feels like,
I think something
it feels
like Civil
real.
War is a step in the right direction, especially with
True.
that finale. Like, it's
True.
Like, it's not just like, oh, a big blue laser shooting in the sky. Oh, we gotta defend the city now, guys.
It's like, no, I hate you. No, I hate you.
It's like,
I think it was fun at first. And everybody wanted. But I think now people are looking, because I've actually had discussions and conversation with people who get pissed off because they don't see superheroes as human. They don't see superheroes as vulnerable. They can't die. They can't do anything. And
people like that are stupid.
Yeah, trust me, I've had conversations with people, and it's been bad. But anyways, I can understand where they're coming from, but I don't agree, because if you make your characters human enough, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. And
I'm okay with, like, comic book movies taking a turn like this. Not the complete turn that DC is taking, because they drove off the cliff, and I don't know where they went. But Marvel, they're getting there.
They're still falling. That's what they're doing. DC is still falling.
We got a couple of comments in our chat. Becca said this movie was bruh. Ralphie 2K17. And Alex was actually pointing out a couple of things that, like, the meds helped out with Professor X's seizures, and they weren't just to make him forget. I actually forgot about that a little bit. Maybe I was taking the meds. And then he also said that the government might have wiped out the population. They might not have completely wiped out the mutant population. They might have just put them into hiding with the fear. Which is why
I wondered. Yeah, I wondered if that was actually a real haven, because, you know, it was very meta, but I loved it.
I don't know. Well, I feel like there's a lot of validity to Alex's comment. Thank you, Alex, for being great.
Oh, yeah.
But because, for one, it would allow the government to privatize mutants.
Exactly.
Like, what were they doing? What was the government doing? Creating a more compliant race of mutants that they could use for their whatever the heck they want to do. I don't know.
It's almost like Infamous.
It's literally Infamous.
It's almost exactly like Infamous Second Son.
Yeah.
James Mangold, more like plagiarizer. Confirm.
I mean, to be honest, it's not an unrealistic jump, because most of the time the reaction to something that's more powerful than you, like we talked about in our Kong thing, is to tame it and make it work for you. And if you can't, then kill it.
Yep. We fear what we don't know, or we fear what we don't understand. So we kill it.
Exactly.
Can we just talk about how good of a performance... Shit, I don't know who to start with. I was gonna start with Patrick Stewart, but then I'm like, oh man, everybody had a really good performance in this movie.
Yeah, everyone did. Like, there wasn't a single person who, like, was flat.
I guess let's start with Patrick Stewart as Professor X, because honestly, he was probably my favorite character in the whole movie. Like,
he was so funny.
Yo,
he was
I don't care what anyone
really
says.
funny.
When he was watching the movie in the hotel, that shit was so great. I was like, yes.
Or the moment
Yes,
where you
I would
think
do
like
that.
he's gonna like make this like big impassioned speech to Logan, and when they just like, Logan, I have to pee. Like, that was a moment where I like almost died in the theater, like, especially because they played that moment off because you think it's gonna go that way, especially from like the trailer, and then that happens, you're like, oh my god. Wait, and then it hard cuts to him like trying to help Professor X like in the bathroom. He's like, "Don't look."
Like,
That
really?
was the best. That was the best.
Oh god.
But and to contrast with that, one of probably the most heartbreaking lines in the entire movie is right after his big like, kind of like psychic attack in the hotel, and then they're going through the hotel, and he's just like trying to speak to all these people like, I'm so sorry. Like,
The look on his
that
face.
was a moment where I was just like, oh, my heart.
Yeah. I feel like the look on his face at that moment, like it was one of those moments, one of those little subtle moments where you realize that he understands, he understood what happened, and understand what is still possible,
Exactly.
and he's afraid. He's really afraid of that happening again, and it's I don't know. It was, I don't know. It made me feel things.
That line alone was just ugh.
Surprise, Ralphie has feelings.
And
Anyway.
should we talk about the fact that this is, in addition to this being Logan's last film, that this was Hugh Jackman's last film, and Patrick Stewart's, at least for the time being.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my fucking god! Professor X's death in this movie. Oh my!
Do we have to talk about it? Do we have to talk about it?
Yes.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
It kicked me because I was like, "Is he just having a bad dream?" And this is where my Draken things comes in, because I literally thought that they were doing the thing where they brought in Laura, and then they were also bringing in Draken because they were talking about making kids, and Draken is legitimately the more furious and more just vicious version of Logan. He just legitimately usually just does not have a filter whatsoever. But it was so interesting. And then they went with the actual like legitimate like clone route, and I was like, you know what, that's fine.
Okay,
I'm not really.
Am I the only one who thought that was? I swear, when they first showed X-24, was it?
24.
Yeah, 24.
Mhm.
When they first showed him, like in the lighting, I legit thought it was Liev Schreiber as Sabretooth. Like, he looked like just like him. I was like, what? They got him back? Like, this is the first time hearing about this. But then as it went on, I was like, oh, it's just a regular old young Hugh Jackman clone.
Yep.
Which honestly was still kind of cool, because it was cool to kind of see him like in, obviously, like the like storytelling thing, like, oh, he's fighting his internal demons and himself. Like, it was cool, but also felt a little forced, if I'm being honest. It was a little I wasn't completely like I was kind of on it. Although it was kind of cool that the movie turned into like a horror movie for like 10 minutes when he first comes in, like a slasher. Like, that was like, damn.
But yeah,
that was crazy.
I can understand your correlation between 24 and Draken.
Yeah, now that you
Lonnie,
mention
I can definitely. Yeah, it makes so much sense. It makes a heck of a lot of sense, actually.
I try.
Like, my brain is like, my mind's kind of blown a little bit.
Kind of surprised.
I actually
kind of surprised
like,
they
I
didn't go
legitimately
that
sat there. Yeah, exactly. Like, I legitimately sat there and I looked over at my uncle, and like he was like, "Who the hell is Draken?" And I was like, "How do you not know who that is?" And
I think
he has the like one claw, if I'm not mistaken, but it's like incredibly like long, and it's ridiculous.
And wasn't Draken killed by Wolverine in the comics too?
Possibly. I don't know very much about his story.
Let me double check this. But yeah, now that
But
you mention that, like, I'm kind of surprised that they actually didn't go that route.
at the same time, I'm glad they didn't because it would have been a weird loose end. It would have
True.
been a really
Well,
weird loose end to tie
not
because there was no.
completely.
Well, yeah, because there would have been no. Would have been no time to develop Draken's identity and his
True.
character in this film.
I'm just saying because like they could have done the same thing they did with Laura, and they legitimately could have just been like, well, this is his, basically his son too, not just a clone. But the difference is in the comics that he actually has his own like arc and all this other stuff. So I see what you're saying, but if they wanted to just do a one-off, I can understand that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, I don't know.
Ooh.
But
What's
up, Jesus?
What should we move? Oh wait, no! I just realized it's Dakin, not Draken.
Oh, it's Draken?
why
That's what
why
Becca-
do we put an R in there?
Becca
I don't
just
know.
pointed out in the chat.
Thanks,
That-
Becca.
Yeah.
It's just to my,
Why do-
she's like, I keep hearing Draken, and I just keep thinking of Dr. Draken from
Kim Possible.
Yeah, I think that's
I was
why.
like that for a second too. I was like, wait a second.
Draken.
You guys
Yeah, I don't
knew
know.
what I was talking about.
Yeah, I knew what you were talking about. I couldn't.
This is why we have you
remember-
guys.
I remember that the name started with a D and ended with an N. That was about it.
Yeah.
Yerp. Wow.
It basically is one letter away from Draken, so I don't want to hear it.
My bad.
But here's the thing.
Hold
what
on.
about a Kim
We have-
Possible Logan spinoff?
Yo.
I would pee myself. Don't do
Possible.
that. I pee myself. Crap.
What else should we move on to? What was like maybe something else you guys wanted to talk? Then okay, I want to talk about the neighbors and stuff because I was having flashbacks from the first like Logan movie with the X-Men Origins, and he stayed at their place and they got murderized.
Yeah.
I was like, this is not gonna end well. I didn't expect clone, but
You just blew my mind. I think that might have been. A partial callback to that. I mean, granted, it's
that's
from
legitimately the same.
It's from X-Men Origins, like the worst movie, but like there was a lot of callbacks to to like a bunch of the crappier movies, so it's fine.
Yeah, that were.
Like the adamantium bullet from that movie is from X-Men Origins, as is the katana was from Wolverine. What am I talking about? But yeah, there was a lot of callbacks that like more than I was expecting in this, to be honest. Like, when I saw the katana from, like, the Wolverine, like, in his little house, I was like, oh shit, I wasn't expecting that.
He's a collector of things.
It was really good.
I really like their interpretation of Caliban in this. Which...
I like the fact that I like the fact that they said screw it with Caliban's presence as far as the continuity goes. I liked this Caliban better.
I just like to think that X-Men Apocalypse isn't super canon.
Unfortunately, it is.
Honestly, with the whole Days of Future Past, I can understand where they kind of wiped the timeline.
That was the point.
So I know, and it was a good move because it legitimately gave them the opportunity to do this with Logan. Because they could make callbacks to their older works, but without them being completely meta and weird. So I can respect that. I can legitimately respect that.
That's what... I'm trying to think how many other ones there were to, like, the main movies. Other than, like, the Statue of Liberty reference that they make, like, very early on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think if there was any others. I did like that they... very subtly reference Jean Grey in the scene where, at the, like, dinner scene, when they're like, or kind of when they were kind of talking about themselves as, like, a little family. I did like their kind of little reference in there. That was nice.
Mm-hmm.
I know that we originally were supposed to have a little bit more Jean Grey in the film, but I'm so glad that we didn't because it would have made that scene.
Wow,
pointless.
Alex.
I feel like Alex's comment when they go into the family's house for the night. 2 kids gonna die tonight.
Oh, no.
I hate you, Alex.
I appreciate that, Alex.
I hate you.
Oh man, shall we talk about
I'm sorry.
the breakout star from this movie?
Yes, please.
Yes, let's do it.
Little Laura, X-23, little murder child.
Mm-hmm.
She was
Little merchant.
She was so good in this. Can I just say, I was not expecting early on when they first get like their first big like fight. I was not expecting them to actually show like that kind of violence against a child. Like the scene like when they shoot like the harpoon thing and you see it like go through her shoulder. I was not expecting that. That kind of made me go like, oh, like, damn, I'm supposed to go that far.
You weren't ready for that. See, I loved that. Like, it's little things like that this film did so well. Like, because you're right, especially in films like this, you don't see any like violence or harm come to any children because it's weird and taboo in America.
Yeah.
Get shit together.
Ralphie confirmed for wanting to shoot lots of children in movies.
Basically, I'm sorry. Like, no, seriously, no one's exempt. Like when especially in like let's say like zombie films, there are no like murderous children. Like, there are no like zombie children. Where they go off to an island somewhere? No, they're dead too. Like
Yo,
I would
that would be a lit as fuck movie. Don't joke.
Like
the island of zombie children.
Yo, I couldn't watch it. I'd freak out. But yeah, like when I said that, like when I say that this film didn't hold back, it really did not hold back at all. Like at all. Like everyone was fair game. Everyone was fair game. We saw kids getting shot in the back of the head, like harpoons, and like it's crazy. It's crazy. I loved it. All right, yeah, move on.
They took a chance and it worked for them.
I'm getting too hyped about this. I'm sorry. Please.
It's a taboo that's always been a thing. Like I can understand why, but at the same time, it's heartstrings nobody wants to pull at.
Yeah,
because everyone's a pansy.
Well, I don't want to see children getting shot in movies.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I just feel I feel like in order for a film to really reach a certain level of realism, it has to take into account that there is nothing is off limits. Nothing can be off limits. And I think this film, Logan
That's what
showed.
They say about. That's what they say about writing. Nothing's off limits.
I almost died.
Exactly. Don't die.
Somebody get me that Logan healing factor over on this bitch. I'm gonna die as fuck. Can we talk about the rest of the test subject children though? Because I thought they all did really good too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm really liking that like kid actors aren't like what's the word I'm looking for? Like it feels like we're kind of going back to the 80s a little bit, where they're like actually like good.
They're not terrible and campy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that. Can we talk about the fact that the small baby children, like, basically adopted Logan as their like Xavier?
Yeah.
Can we talk about that? Can we talk about how that was like that? I legit started crying. Is that bad? That I tears, not manly tears, but really like thin, like angel hair tears were like falling, cascading down.
I mean, given this movie, that's not a bad thing. Especially.
But that's the thing.
And that's not exactly what's the word I'm looking for? Not surprising from this kind of movie.
True. I haven't cried so hard in a long time, man. I haven't cried so hard in a long time.
Okay, I'm gonna fucking gush over that last shot in the movie where they're all.
Hold on, we're not there yet. We're not there yet.
We're
not there yet.
Bitch.
First of all, no.
Becca, you're very right, by the way. She said all these amazing child actors right now, like her and the Stranger Things kids, blessed. Disney Channel doesn't have monopoly on child stars anymore.
Oh, they lost that a long time ago. They tripping. Anyway, Sue me, Disney. Sue me, I dare you. Okay.
The views of Ralpho popping piss over here do not reflect those of the rest of the Tales from Terminus podcast corporation.
I'm just saying.
Don't
it's
sue
good
us,
to see
sue him.
Sue me.
God.
It's good to see. Again, like it goes down to like just the talent like across this entire film. Everyone was on point. Everything worked. Everything felt real. Like, and honestly, the biggest part for me was the kids. It was the kids, because for one, it wasn't even the fact that they were just. It wasn't the fact that they were really into their characters. It's the fact that what they brought to their characters, that fear that they brought to their characters.
Yeah.
Like, half of these kids didn't use their abilities because they were afraid until they were put in the situation where they had to.
Yeah.
And they just let loose. And it was that is good acting. Like, to go from to switch up that like so quickly, going from timid and afraid and running for your life to, you know what, screw it, you're all gonna die. Like,
you make a good point, because I sat there and was like, why aren't you using your powers? Oh my god, you guys are so powerful. Why aren't you freezing everybody? And
because they're being hunted. Like, they're pariah. Like, they can't display their abilities in public, or either they'll get captured or killed, or both. So the moment where they got the okay to, they were like, yo, it's game time.
Or
I think
it was the moment when they realized that Logan was kind of losing his fight with X-24, and they were like, "We need to step in, or he's gonna get his ass kicked even more." Or like you said, like, they don't want to lose like their Xavier figure, like they're gonna try to protect his ass.
Exactly. So
I love the fact that
I don't know. It was good. Go ahead.
I love the fact that Logan. Well, I love the fact that Hugh Jackman, like how committed he was to this, to the character of Wolverine, to the point where when he realized that this is the step that Xavier was telling him about, this is a step that he needed to take, he was not for it, because it's not in his character.
Exactly.
It's not in my character to watch these whiny little kids. Like, no, that's not how I do things. I do things alone. I don't need this problem. You guys don't need this problem, so I'm out. So it was, I don't know, it's little things like that. Like, it's just little things like that.
I love
because it could have been like
when Logan was sleeping though, and they all just come at him with the scissors and like give him like the classic like Wolverine like chops. Like, that was great.
Yo, and his anger when he it was great.
He's like, oh, God damn it,
it was such a like dad moment. It's like
really
when your kids like draw on your face when you're sleeping, and you're just like.
First of all, let me tell you something. If Kai does that,
but that was
if
such
Kai
a good moment.
tried that foolishness,
that was such a good moment because it showed like they're just still kids.
Yeah. True.
Like, they're gonna play jokes. They're gonna prank people. Like, they're not just like lab experiments. They're still like kids.
Exactly. I will say this: if Kai does that, I'm sitting right over to you, Ryan.
Bruh.
You're gonna wake up with like a line down your face. It's gonna be great.
Bruh. Bruh.
Funny.
Can we also talk about that? Since the kids were all going to Canada, that they're all probably going to join Alpha Flights, and I think Alpha Flight might have been the ones who were trying to get them into their safe haven.
I think so as well. I think it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. I mean, I could see it.
Like, that's
I could see it.
That's what I was thinking. As soon as they mentioned Canada, I was like, are they gonna fucking bring Alpha Flight in those movies? Is this a backdoor Alpha Flight like origin? Like, I could see it, maybe.
Who knows?
Because I mean,
well, I guess we'll have to.
What's the future like? Because I know a lot of people are campaigning for X-23 to show up, not in Deadpool 2, but probably X-Force. Which I could maybe see, especially since they're probably gonna involve Cable with that. They're gonna have all kinds of time travel shit. They could easily bring her in, especially because the reception to her character that we've seen like all over has been phenomenal. Like, people love X-23.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's weird though, because it's funny. It's the love for her character in Logan kind of reminds me of the love for Ryan Gosling's character in Drive. He had very few lines in that movie. Ryan Gosling had very few lines in that film, and he was baller in it. Same here.
I haven't seen Drive.
I know.
I've seen most of Drive. Actually,
I haven't seen
no.
Drive.
I've seen all of Drive. I fucking hated it the first time I watched it, but that was when I was a stupid kid.
Bruh, that movie is amazing. The soundtrack is amazing. Go watch it if you haven't, please. You will love it. But
Did I just get teleported back into like 2011, 2012? What's going on here?
basically, but like, it's the same here. Like, throughout like more than half of the film, she says like nothing at all. But we still love her for reasons we don't understand. Like, we have this weird connection.
It's all in the character development and how the actor plays it. Because you can make a character that doesn't say a damn word, and then all of a sudden you realize you have one of the biggest connections ever to this character, and they haven't said anything more than like 2 words, if at all. Like Groot, he doesn't actually say anything. He just says, "I am Groot."
Bleh.
Yep, and
It's the way in the way he expresses himself. Like that's how it.
Yeah.
I think it's a testament to how good your storytelling is if you can make a character that doesn't speak and have your audience feel for them.
It really kind of struck me when she like first started speaking, and you realize like she is still like a little girl. Like like it kind of not caught me off guard, is I guess kind of surprised me a little bit. Because like when she first started talking, I was like, wow, she sounds really, really young. And I what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, I guess it just kind of surprised me, like, because you kind of don't really think about it a huge amount till that point, especially when she's like getting involved in the action scenes and like kicking ass and stuff. Like, you don't kind of think about it all the time.
True.
And the scene where like she's like fucking like slapping him and shit.
Angry Spanish is angry. That was great. I died. I was like, this is the best. This is the best.
He was like, "Stop hitting me!"
That felt like such a dad. That was the daddest
It was.
moment.
I was like, bro, are you serious?
It was a great family dynamic because one of my favorite lines and scenes out of the movie is when Xavier didn't take his pills and he turned around and was like, "I want to see it," and he goes, "Eh." I was like, "Oh my god." We like everybody in the theater was dying. We could not keep it together. It was so good.
I feel like it's lighthearted moments like that in this film that really made it so impactful. Like, you see that through all of this, not so much chaos, but all of this like turmoil and this sadness, there's still time for family. There's still time to enjoy the little things.
Definitely.
And yeah, like there's still time to enjoy life.
Like,
even though it's coming to an end, you know?
Like that whole farm scene. Like, by the end of that scene, when they, like, start getting killed, like, you feel really fucking, like, sad and pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, they are killing these people who are so good to our characters up until this point.
Yeah.
Like, let's just say, like, they had just shown, like, the scene where, like, it's just like, oh, they offer them help on the side of the road, and then, like, they offer them, like, just a place to stay. I don't think we would have had the impact if we had not had, like, the dinner scene and the scene where Logan goes out and helps the dad fix the water pump. Like, those scenes, and, like, the scene where Laura goes into the son's room and is just, like, kind of listening to, like, his iPod, like...
That was so sweet.
Like, it's really good character building scenes like that make you care about the characters and make you feel things. Like, please, more of this. Like, what did it kind of feel like? It almost kind of reminded me of, who are the 2 characters that you meet in Last of Us, and then the kid gets infected?
Oh, no.
It reminded me a little
brothers.
of that, that kind of story beat. It reminded me a little bit of that.
That will always hurt me. That will always hurt me. That oh god, why should you bring that up? Why?
Because I mean, we've all kind of discussed it. Like, this movie feels like me, you, and I'm sure everybody said it when like they first revealed the trailer for this. Last of Us with mutants.
It's literally
The last of X-Men. basically.
And take note, if there were, since there is supposed to be a Last of Us film, make it like this, just no mutants.
I mean,
If you don't make it like this, like, there's no reason you should make the film, to be honest.
It has to be rated R.
I mean, no mutants.
It has to
I mean, it'd be really cool to see, like, Joel, like, just, like, pop, like, 3 claws. Like,
Listen,
come on, imagine
Can
that
I tell
hospital
you-
scene at the end.
I
Bruh,
will say
really.
this, because I don't want this to turn into a Last of Us discussion, but I will say this. If they do this movie, they have the best, like, foundation to make it so creepy and scary and so real, because they don't have superpowers. It's legitimately them versus clickers and them
Exactly.
versus people. Like, they don't have superpowers, and, like, berserker rage that just... It's like the scene with Ellie where she kills, like, David is one of my favorite scenes because it's so human, and she was scared and she was real. So if
True.
you're not going to do it right, don't do it at all.
Exactly. Exactly.
True. Take note, because it's the Assassin's Creed film. Even though it was
Listen.
good. Even though it was good.
It was. It was.
Yeah. 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 I mean, hey, it could have been Prince of Persia, bro.
No.
But anyway, it's not the point.
Listen, I
It's not the
enjoyed
point.
Persia.
Oh,
It had
not the
nothing
point.
to do with the games.
It's not the point.
God.
It's not the point.
It had nothing to do with the games. Anyways.
No, I didn't. It was terrible.
Back to the last of X-Men.
Yes.
Can I don't know if they mentioned it in the movie. I'm pretty sure it was mentioned, like, beforehand, maybe behind the scenes stuff. That a lot of the Reavers in the movie were supposed to be, like, previous guys who had, like, fought Logan. Or at least, if I recall, that was kind of, like, their design philosophy with all the, like, prosthetic limbs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what... Who was it? The main kind of Reaver guy. I can't remember his name. Was it just me, or did he... Because I'm pretty sure he implied, like, he and Logan had kind of met before.
Mm-hmm.
Because
so.
that's... I really like that aspect of it. Especially with this being, like, the last, like, Wolverine movie. At least until, like, they do a Laura movie. It was kind of cool to have that aspect in it. Like, that was... From both a story perspective, too. Like, these guys who were, like... I'm sure there were some of them who, like, probably augmented themselves so they could, like, stand a chance against, like, some of the, like, mutants. And, like, the guy who... I love the one scene. I think it was Laura who took him out. But he was, like, the guy, he had, like, both of his arms and only one of his legs was cybernetic, and then Laura, like, took out the other leg. That was so good. Like, just, like, even, like, little, like, kind of comedy, like, dark comedy bits, like, in those, like, action scenes, like, it goes a long way. Like, the scene where they're trying to flee the compound, and they're heading towards the fence, and you think, like, oh, they're just gonna burst through the fence and they'll get out. And then they, like, just, like, the fence just, like, crumples, like, around the car. Like, that was a little, like... Both, like, you kind of feel like, oh, fuck, like, how are they gonna get out of this? And just kind of, like, a little funny, because, like, we've all seen, like, a billion action movies where they just, like, boom, right through.
Yeah.
Like, it also kind of added to the realism of the movie a little bit, too, which was, it was cool. Which...
Exactly.
I like their vision of the future in this movie. Like, not really a whole lot's different. Some cars look a little nicer. We got, like, what is it? Like, semis are now, like, robot-controlled, and I think that...
Bachelorette parties are still bachelorette parties.
Yep. I'm surprised they managed to see some titties in there, like 10 minutes in. I was like, oh, shit.
I was like, oh, God. Okay. All right.
It was just 2 seconds of titties, though. It wasn't much. 2 second tease.
Also, the guy, his name, Donald Pierce.
The scientist man?
No.
The scientist man, his last name was Rice.
Yeah, Donald Pierce was the cyborg guy, the guy with the weird arm. Yeah, I liked him. He was cool. I liked him a lot.
You said it was Dr. Rice?
Yeah, Dr. Rice.
Oh, god damn it. Hold on. I'm trying to see, because I could have sworn they mentioned that he met one of, or like his dad had met Logan before.
It's quite possible.
Oh, apparently his dad was... Okay, so apparently X-Men Apocalypse is canon, because apparently his dad was one of the scientists who was killed by Logan in X-Men Apocalypse during that rampage.
Oh.
Huh.
Interesting. Because I know he
Interesting.
mentioned it, but I was like, was there like a major character named Rice before? What the fuck? So I guess X-Men Apocalypse is still canon? I mean, maybe
I mean, yeah.
maybe that also is a reason why, like, they started all these, like, scientific experiments and shit to, like, phase the mutant population out, because, like, Apocalypse fucked everything up.
Yeah.
No, I could see that, actually. That makes a lot of sense. What else? Which, it just occurred to me that the post-credits scene for Apocalypse was, like, a direct setup to this movie. Where they retrieve, like, Logan's, like, DNA from the Alkali facility. I just realized that, and that's where they got it. That's where they got it for X-23, because I was like, because initially you just kind of like, okay, yeah, like Logan's been injured a shit ton, like I'm sure they just scooped up some of his blood and then like synthesized DNA from that. But that actually makes more sense now. Shit. What else? I'm trying to think. There was one other thing. There was one other detail that I was trying to remember that was cool. I loved how, like, Logan and Caliban kind of bickered a lot, like, with their responsibilities with, like, Professor X. Like, it was a little bit funny, but you also, like, it also had, like, this very kind of, like, serious aspect to it. Like, almost kind of... What's the word I'm looking for here? Like, it almost kind of felt like like an old married couple, like, bickering.
Yeah.
Like, I thought I told you to go take out the trash. I thought I told you to go get Professor X's medicine. I did it last week. Like, that's it gave me shades of that, which I thought was kind of funny. And I really love Stephen Merchant in this. Wait, it was Stephen Merchant, the guy who played Wheatley, right? Shit. Hold on, I need to look this up. I loved his performance as Caliban. How you really got the sense that, like, he was kind of trying to repent for his, like, past mistakes as a mutant hunter. Like, I really like that aspect of his character. It made him a lot more three-dimensional to me than just like, oh, he's just like this guy who's like helping out Wolverine. Just random mutant number 23AB.
Basically.
Like, I love that they gave him, like, a really good character. And shit, there was one other thing that I really liked about it. I love the way that they took him out in this movie, too. How you could...
He just was like, bam.
Like, you could tell at that point, like, he wanted to die, and he knew that if he did that, he could also probably buy Logan some precious time. Like, he was still thinking about his friends.
Yeah.
Even after he was tortured and, like, mutilated for, like, trying to help them. Like, I really liked his character in this movie. And yeah, I was right, Stephen Merchant, the guy who played Wheatley in Portal 2. I was right!
That dab, though.
That mini dab. Shit. I'm trying to think if there's something else. There was one other thing I was thinking of, is like just on the tip of my tongue.
I don't know. Should we start wrapping up then?
Probably.
If we're gonna wrap up, so yeah, if we're gonna wrap up, we might as well hit that ending.
Yep. So. I'll go first.
Oh, Jesus.
I'll go first. I didn't cry, and I'm mad at myself that I didn't cry. It was more so for personal reasons, but it did make me incredibly sad. It was a great way to send him off, and I loved that Laura went and changed it to an X, because she knows. And she knew that would be more of a display and more of a good representation of him. Because at the heart of it all, he is still an X-Men. Like, He's still a part of them. He's still part of that family. And it was a good way to pay her respects and a good way for audiences to get that closure. Because we also didn't get it with Professor X. Like, he kind of just like walked away and like all this other stuff and whatnot. And for me, it kind of represented that too. It was for everybody who died, but it was a good rest in peace to Logan and his storyline.
Yeah.
So I loved it. 10 out of 10.
You actually just reminded me that scene after they buried Professor X, and he's just kind of like, you could tell he's super broken up about it, and really all he can get out is he's by water. Like, he's just trying to see like the good in it, and like he just can't really process those emotional feelings. Like, that scene was so great.
It really was, and like, I think he can, but he's just never given himself the opportunity to. He's always just like fought it.
Exactly. And like, even like directly after that, when like you could tell like it was partially a comedic moment, but given the circumstances, probably not really. When he just like goes like and tries to start the car and it does it, and he just starts fucking wailing on it and beating the shit out of the car. Like, that got like a little chuckle out of me, but like also like just kind of like, fuck. That's
you realize that's how he worked. That's how he worked through his emotions.
It reminded me of Dean Winchester in season 2, and he beat the crap out of the Impala.
Yeah.
So I felt that.
It was kind of how he processed his emotions at the moments.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, like I didn't cry, but oh my fucking god, when they did that X, like I did, like the tears were like welling up, but like not ready to fall out. Like that's that was honestly, like with that shot, like that honestly felt like a real like ending to the series as a whole. Like, we started this back in 2000, and it really felt like an ending to me. Like, like, honestly, like, that's why I said, like, kind of from the beginning, like, I almost don't want another X-Men movie after this, or really anything, other than maybe Deadpool.
I feel you there, too.
I understand,
like,
and I kind of agree.
It just felt like such a perfect ending to that whole series. Yes, Becca, this is what it feels like line. Like, that was so good. And
oh my god.
I love that a lot of people pointed this out after the movie came out, that they kind of James Mangold has probably been planning this a while, since he basically laced in Logan, what happens to Logan at the end of this movie, into the Wolverine. With the line, "I see you on your back, there's blood everywhere, you're holding your own heart in your hand." Which, at the end of the movie, he's on his back, there's blood everywhere, and he's holding X-23, basically his daughter, in his hand.
Yeah.
Like...
I don't care what anyone says, it's Laura's line after he says that one made me, like... I've cried very few times in my adult life. I boohoo cried when Kai was born. That's the last time I actually like cried, like legit cried. Until I saw this film, like that moment, I was like, bruh. Like, does anyone else remember the line? Remember what she said afterward? Anyone?
Was it something like dad or something like
Daddy.
that?
She called him Daddy. Bruh, I lost my mind.
That was so good.
I was on. I couldn't get up. Like, you remember when we saw Moana?
Yeah.
And I like cried. Yeah, it was worse than that. It was like 10 times worse than that. It was terrifying. I have never cried so hard before in my life like that. The way that fight, everything leading up to that, you knew for a fact that whole exchange between 24 and Logan was going to end one way, and one way only. But I don't know. I held out hope, but the moment Logan was impaled, I was like, you know what?
This is
Okay.
it. Like his healing
But
factor is not gonna heal. Is not gonna do anything.
exactly, and like an idiot, he took all of that serum at once.
But
Like an idiot.
I do love that serum allowed us to get one last moment of just pure Wolverine rage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It was so good.
but yeah, that it's just the way he was looking at 23, like everything. It just, bruh,
And it
even
was such a
thinking about it now.
multi-purpose line. Like
Yeah,
the whole "this is what it feels like" it could mean a whole bunch of different things. Like
yeah.
it could be "this is what it feels like to care about somebody like that." This is what it feels like to die. Like
yeah, like even thinking about it now, I'm getting like a little teary-eyed. But
The misters are starting in your eyes.
a little bit. I need them to turn off like now. But yeah,
Controls, can we turn off the
that
misters?
basically that last shot. That last shot. If you're gonna end a film, end it like that.
mm-hmm.
That I agree with you 100%, Ryan. There should be no more X-Men after this. There shouldn't be. Like honestly feels like it's spitting on this movie to do so.
Yeah.
It's completely discrediting and doing away with the effect of this film to have another X-Men film. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree because they're like, "Oh, well, Logan's just one person." It's like, yeah, but
he was basically what made this series.
If it wasn't
or at least
for
like this film franchise.
If it wasn't for Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, none of these films would have even happened to begin with. Like, I'm sorry, Halle Berry didn't carry X-Men. Sorry, fam. You can go kill yourself if you think so. She did not carry it at all. I'm being dead serious. Like,
oh my god.
Don't
Halle
like
Berry.
Deadpool.
Don't actually do that.
Don't actually do that. It's her phrase. Chill out. I'll punch you in the face.
Is that why she had like maybe 2 lines in Days of Future Past? One of which was "Get Down."
Yep.
Storm, I will never get over the fact that Storm is underused whatsoever, but that's fine. We're not going to talk about that.
Christ.
I mean, hey, all I know is Deadpool is fine. Let Deadpool continue. I can see that's fine. But you know what? I'm going to do. I'm going to take back the statement I said about there not being any more X-Men films, because I'm okay with it happening under one condition. One.
What's that?
Just one. And that condition is you continue by following X-23. At least for 2 films. Well, at most 2 films. After that, you can do whatever you want. But what happens with that freedom that her father gave his life for? What happens? I want to know. I mean, of course we all know, but I want to see it. I want to see it. Because that moment you can see how that moment affected her at the end of the film. Like how much she appreciated it and loved him, so much so to properly mark his grave. Yeah. So, I mean,
I wouldn't mind growing up with this X-23. Like,
yeah, give me that.
I wouldn't mind that.
Real. I didn't get that.
We can have the Harry Potter grow up cycle with her. It's fine.
Bruh. No, God. No, please.
The next movie, she's like 20-something, and you're just like, wait a second.
I was like, Jesus Christ.
Bruh. But, yeah. Logan. Logan.
Such a good...
You haven't seen it. You need to figure out what's wrong with your life and go see it.
Well, I mean, if you haven't seen it at this point, it's probably like $5. It's been out like a month.
Oh no, it's still full price, fam.
Jesus
it's still full price. Yeah, it's still doing great things.
Just like Logan died, it's about to die at the movie theater.
Wow, please no. All I know is I can't wait for the Blu-ray, because that like director's commentary and the deleted scenes and all the greatness, buddy. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna lose my
There was a lot of people bitching that there was no post-credit scene, but I really don't.
Why would there be one?
It really doesn't feel appropriate given the ending too.
Yeah.
First of all, okay, you know what?
Oh Jesus, here we go.
It's time for a Ralphie rant.
Oh, Jesus.
It's time for a Ralphie rant.
We'll eventually get a
First of all,
graphic for this that I can put up.
I already have it. I just have to send it to you. Let me tell y'all something, bro. Let me tell y'all something real quick. If you were expecting, if you got upset because you expected a post-credit scene after Logan, I need you to do me a favor.
Oh my God.
Get in your vehicle. Whether get on your vehicle or in your vehicle, maybe a motorcycle, a moped, a bike, a car, even a bus. If it's a bus, hijack it. Start it up.
I was gonna say, do not say plane, motherfucker.
Don't do that.
Oh man. I don't like where this is going.
Drive to the nearest cliff. Turn it off. Get out, sit on the hood, and think about your life choices.
Okay.
Because that you thought I was gonna tell him to drive off the cliff. Don't assume the worst of me, man. Dang.
I had like my button on my like mouse like hovered over the mute button.
No, think about your life choices. Because if you honestly believe that this film needed a post-credit scene, then there is something wrong with all of us. If we feel like we are entitled to something of that caliber off of everything, no. That's like having a post-credit scene at the end of Titanic. That would make no sense. Like, why would we need this? Why?
Post-credit scenes should be reserved for, I would say, if you're making multiple movies, like something that is like a nice little hint to the next one, or something that's just like a nice little Easter egg. Not all movies need them.
Yeah. Even if it was a cut to Laura traveling to Canada or whatever, and somewhere somehow for some reason she walks and finds I don't know, Logan's old costume.
Cyclops.
I would pee myself. Don't do that. Like if she comes across a comic, or say Logan's like that would be funny. Or Logan's like original costume.
The movie before the little short film before the movie too.
True. Like something like even if it was something like that, it would still feel unnecessary.
Yeah, I know. I was just about to read these.
What you saying, Becca? What you saying?
Becca started with put the guy in my theater after there wasn't a scene. Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle. And
see,
then Alex made a really good point with this. Marvel started the trend and made it mainstream. Now, whenever there's a movie, everyone expects something at the end nowadays. What was once a really cool little Easter egg / teaser is now mundane and expected. I agree with that.
You know what? Perfectly well said. Well said. See, this is why I stroke your hair at night.
And then Becca also said, after you said the thing about the Titanic post-credit scene, she said for the Titanic's post-credit scene that Jack is still alive, but now he's Mr. Freeze. Confirmed.
And Alex was like trying to save Rose from her frozen state. It all makes sense.
Jesus Christ!
I can't.
Oh my God! You're blowing my fucking mind here. Jesus Christ! I feel like I just got an adamantium bullet through the back of my head.
No.
But seriously, like I'm wrapping this rant up. No, just no. Like, no. This film is perfect the way it is. Don't get mad because there isn't something afterwards. Like, this is the film ended the way it needed to. So if you think otherwise, you can go get some ice cream and talk to your kids about how much of a failure you are because you're a terrible parent. Or talk to your pets because your pets understand you. So yeah, there's that.
I thought you were about to go a completely different direction with that shit.
I know, right? See, the fake out was
real. Tonight.
Fake out was real. That's what I do.
Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne.
Well, I'd say
I feel like that's
the end of.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see if I can find something to make it X. Hold
Oh my God.
Oh God.
Oh wait, hold on. Oh God. Hold please.
Maybe you could just.
No, this is. I got. Oh shit! I got
Really?
two sticks.
Oh my god.
Wait! No!
I got
Wait. There we go.
Oh.
Confirmed.
I like it.
I guess I'm just gonna have to fucking hold these here.
There you go, Becca, just for you.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know.
Do the X, motherfucker!
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Um,
I'm doing like a Wonder Woman like X.
I have knives, so I don't know. Fuck, I don't know.
Do the X so we have a good screen cap, you bastard.
Okay, I'll just use my. No, I'm not using my glasses. That's weird. Screw it. Tell your friends.
It looks like a dab. Oh god damn it.
Yeah. You just...
There we go.
Guys,
Fine.
thanks for watching our Logan spoiler cast. You've all been great and just awesome.
Yeah, and good luck to whoever the heck is filling Hugh Jackman's shoes.
Feeling
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman's shoes.
Bruh.
Anyways, have a good night, guys.
We
love you.
We will see you
Don't be people.
guys. What day did we fucking say the Horizon one's gonna be on again?
Tomorrow.
Oh Jesus Christ! Wait.
We'll see you tomorrow
Wait,
with Horizon Zero
should we do it
Pawns.
Saturday since we're on 7 on Saturday.
Possibly.
Bruh.
We'll talk about it.
We will see you guys soon, probably. Yeah. Woo!
We'll let you know.
See you guys next week.
What?
Nothing. Bye.
Bruh.